Jada Pinkett Smith has spent years controlling her narrative. Every headline, every interview, every carefully chosen word has painted her as someone who owns her truth, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. But now, that image is being challenged in a way nobody saw coming. Because according to recent legal filings, someone from Will Smith's inner circle is claiming Jada crossed a line so serious, it's now playing out in court. And what he says happened behind closed doors has people asking one uncomfortable question. How much of this story have we never heard before? This didn't start with paparazzi photos or leaked texts. It started with a lawsuit. A $3 million lawsuit, to be exact. And the person filing it isn't a random internet critic or a disgruntled fan. It's someone who says he was once extremely close to Will Smith. His name is Bilal Salam, and he claims that years ago something went so wrong between him and Jada that it never fully went away. For a long time, whatever happened stayed quiet. But now, it's been dragged into the spotlight. According to court documents, Bilal alleges that back in late 2021, he attended a private party where he crossed paths with Jada. At the time, rumors about Will and Jada's marriage were everywhere. Their relationship was being debated online, dissected on talk shows, and analyzed by fans who felt like they knew every detail already. Bilal claims he had been speaking openly about Will and Jada's relationship and that Jada wasn't happy about it. What happened next, according to him, is what sparked everything. He alleges that Jada approached him and delivered a warning that he interpreted as a serious threat. The phrase he claims she used immediately caught attention online, not because of what followed, but because of how it was framed. According to Bilal, Jada told him that if he didn't stop talking about her and Will, he would catch a bullet. That single line exploded across social media the moment it became public. Some people saw it as a figure of speech. Others saw it as something far darker. And that difference in interpretation is exactly where things get complicated. To be clear, these are allegations. Jada has not been found liable for anything, and no criminal charges have been filed. This is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal case. That distinction matters more than most people realize. Because legally, there's a massive gap between saying something and actually taking action. And that's why many legal experts are already questioning whether this lawsuit can even survive. Here's where things start to feel strange. Bilal isn't claiming that Jada physically harmed him. He isn't claiming she attempted to harm him. Instead, he's arguing that the statement alone caused emotional distress and fear. He's also requested a restraining order, suggesting that he believes the threat was serious enough to warrant protection. But when lawyers looked at the filing, many immediately pointed out a major problem. The alleged incident happened in 2021. That's years ago. And in civil cases like this, time matters. On top of that, there's the wording itself. According to reports, the statement was conditional. If you keep talking, then this will happen. In legal terms, that's very different from a direct promise to act. It's one of the reasons many believe the $3 million figure is unrealistic. Some even say the lawsuit may not be about money at all. And once that idea entered the conversation, everything shifted. Because when you step back and look at the bigger picture, this isn't just about one alleged comment at a party. It's about control. It's about boundaries. And it's about what happens when private relationships collide with public exposure. Back in 2021, Will and Jada were doing something few celebrity couples had ever done before. They were openly discussing their marriage. Not just the highlights, but the mess. Red Table Talk became a place where deeply personal details were shared with millions of viewers. They spoke about separation, healing, and redefining commitment. For some fans, it felt honest. For others, it felt like an invitation. An invitation to talk, speculate, and weigh in. That's where the contradiction begins. On one hand, Will and Jada were telling their story publicly, encouraging conversation. On the other hand, Bilal claims he was warned to stay silent. And that clash is what's fueling so much debate now. Some people are asking how someone can invite public discussion and then allegedly attempt to shut it down behind the scenes. Others argue that there's a clear difference between strangers talking online and someone from your inner circle speaking out. And that's where things get even murkier. Because Bilal wasn't just anyone. He says he worked closely with Will on multiple projects. He claims they were friends. Which raises another question. What exactly was he saying that made Jada feel threatened enough to confront him? That part remains unclear, and the lack of detail is making people speculate even more. Online, some fans believe Bilal knows far more than he's saying publicly. Others think he may be exaggerating the situation. But one theory keeps resurfacing, and it's one that Hollywood has seen before. The tell-all theory. It's been said that lawsuits sometimes come before memoirs, that legal filings can establish a public record before someone tells their side of the story in full. There's no confirmation that Bilal is planning to release a book. None at all. But the idea has been floating around social media ever since the lawsuit was filed. People are wondering if this is the opening move in something bigger. A way to signal that he has stories to tell, whether anyone wants to hear them or not. If that's true, it could explain why the lawsuit exists, even if it doesn't succeed. Because winning in court isn't the only way to win attention. And attention, in Hollywood, is currency. Meanwhile, one person has stayed completely silent through all of this. Will Smith. Will hasn't commented publicly on the lawsuit. He hasn't defended Jada. He hasn't acknowledged the claims. And for someone whose reactions have shaped headlines before, that silence is loud. Some believe it's strategic. Others think he's trying to avoid reopening wounds from past controversies that already damaged his reputation. Because if Will speaks, everything changes. His involvement could shift public opinion overnight. If he sides with Jada, it could make Bilal look isolated. If he distances himself, it could raise even more questions about what's really happening behind the scenes. For now, all anyone can do is speculate. And speculation is exactly what this situation thrives on. What makes this story so unsettling isn't just the allegation itself. It's how familiar it feels. Another private moment allegedly boiling over. Another former insider stepping forward. Another reminder that even the most curated public images can crack when pressure builds long enough. Jada Pinkett Smith has always been seen as someone unafraid to confront uncomfortable truths. But this situation forces a different kind of confrontation. One where the narrative isn't entirely hers to control. One where rumors, legal filings, and unanswered questions collide in public view. At this point, nothing has been proven. The lawsuit could be dismissed. The restraining order could be denied. This could all fade away quietly. But even if that happens, the damage may already be done. Because once allegations like this enter the conversation, they don't disappear easily. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. Not whether a lawsuit succeeds, not whether a statement was meant literally or figuratively, but how fragile public trust becomes when private conflicts spill into the open. Because the biggest question isn't what was said at that party years ago. It's what else hasn't been said yet.